The next Mamer in Parsha Shlach. This is the 10th Mamer, and this is a biur. The biur apostle v'aya lachem lציצית. I guess in the Parsha Shema we also learned over there it says v'lo yisuru acharei levavchem. Don't follow your heart. V'acharei einechem asher atem zonim achareihem. Your eyes, your heart, that you follow them. So he's going to explain what is the idea of leiv. So the Gemara says, it says like this: Halev roya, the heart sees, right? So it says, and it says Halev roya. What does it mean? We say the heart sees. Over there it says al levavchem. We say that this trace sursurim, the eyes see and the heart desire. But here it says the heart sees. And what is the idea? Lahavin inyan halev. He wants to say what happens when things come to the heart. Basically, as long as things are still in your mind, it doesn't affect you that much because you can still change. You can think over here. But when things come down to the heart, that is when it gets established. That's what the idea of the heart is, that what's in your mind becomes sort of connected with you. So let's see what it says. Hine Isa, we find it says, Halev Mavin, the heart understands, or Halev Shemeh. What does it mean when we say the heart understands or the heart hears? There's like a deeper connection when it comes to the heart. The Isa, B'Kisvei HaArizal, and the Kisvei HaArizal, we find she Yisoid Abba U'Bechoze, that the element of Abba, of Chochmah, is in the chest. Basically, that Abba is Chochmah, Abba is the brain. But there he says that the Yisoid of Abba, the element of Abba is in the Chazah. What does that mean? That the element of Abba is in the chest. Chest is where the heart is. This has to do with the idea of the Leiv Mavin and Halev Shemeya, that the heart understands. That means, because you're going to explain, the element means when it comes down from the higher place, from the moichin, and it comes down into the heart, into the chazeh, that is what it means over here, maybe in Halev Meshabeya. By Mashakosu Bedibra Maschil Ein Nekoil B'Shem Hamagid Ish Ha'eliki Nishmos Eid. In the name of the Magid, the godly man, Nishmos Eid. Interesting the way he calls it, the Magid, Nishmos Ish Ha'eliki. L'havin Ma'u Yisoid. What do we mean when we say a Yisoid? We're saying that the Yisoid Abba is in the Chazah. What does it mean the Yisoid of Abba is in the Chazah? So it's like this. Hine. Kol Dover Hamashpio Mechayi Lamato Lamasha Lamato Mimenu. Any item which gives a flow and vitalizes that which is below him, he only vitalizes it in his lowest level. So the lowest level of the mashpia is what gives the chayes to the level that is lower than it. Since he is much greater than the effect, what's going to come from him. So the effect will not be able, or the consequence, the created, the olu will not be able to grasp the ilah. So if he didn't give him from the lowest, he wouldn't be able to tolerate. Couldn't tolerate. Okay, and therefore, mukhrach letzamtzem atzmei ulekasher es atzmei b'bchina tachtoina shaloi. So therefore, he must contract himself, the mashpia, ulekasher es atzmei, and to tie himself down b'bchina tachtoina shaloi, in his lower level, lamash lemata mimenu, to that which is below him, kidei lahachis, in order to vitalize it. He has to go down. In order to vitalize, to contract himself. And that level, that lower level in which he contracts himself, which means is mashpia, nikro yisoid abo, betoich yisoid imo, that is the element, the level of abo within yisoid imo, which would mean like within the Sfiras Habina, the Sfiras HaChochma, which goes down. That becomes the moichin for the Zeir Ampi. That becomes the moichin for the Midah. That goes into the Choseh, what he said before. It appears what explains there. That's in the Kisva Arizal. Shemishtabim ad HaChoseh. That they straighten out up to the Choseh. Umiskaptzim kol ha'oiris belev, and all the lights that nimshach from the level of Sedam Techsev Ima Shem Dalet Shemis. Mebeis you say this Hanal. Those are the four names from the two you say this. That comes to the amount of Lamed Beis. Four names, I guess. Four names. Each name has how much letters? 4 letters. 4 times 4 is 16. And 2 times 16 is 32. So you have Kol Belev Shem Dalet Shemes. And from the 2 elements, what are the 2 elements? Chochma and Bina, Abba and Ima. So therefore, you get to Chayz Mov Lamed Beis. Ba'im Pirish Ramaz B'zer Parshem Merdav Tzadikim Lamed Beis. So I don't understand what's going on over here. This isn't the goal. The Chmoshul, who, by way of example, when an idea leaves from the Moyach all of a sudden, while it's in the Moyach, it's very hidden, closed. It's not revealed to the extent he himself doesn't grasp it fully while it's in his mind. I guess that would be the Koyach HaChochma before the Bina. Then when it starts to expand from the brain to the outside. So take it, no, this is take it from Yad, Shabal is Galus. When he comes to reveal Mislaiv Ma'oid. And then he gets fired up. So then you can accomplish something. You can bring it down. You can do with it something. When the thing is still hidden, there's nothing to do with it. You don't know it yet. There's nothing you can do. You can accomplish. You cannot be mamshich to the next level. You cannot be. But when it comes out, then you can impact when it's revelation something. And then when it comes to the heart, hu kiyumei shel hadover. The heart sustains this matter. Shekivon shemischazek eize dover belev b'chizuk gadol. Once something is strengthened in the heart with a strong strength, lo yozuz memenu la'olam, it will never move from him. As opposed to when it's only by him in the intellect. Yochel lozus mizeh memenu taketh. So then he can very immediately, in other words, if you don't change your heart, you don't bring it down to your heart, then you can very easily, even though you had an intellectual, it came down to, but if it didn't occupy your heart, you can very easily move away from it because your heart is, in the meantime, has other taivas, other signers. So if you haven't changed your heart, so you understand intellectual, but very quickly it can move away. Since the heart is still rooted in bodily desires, because the type that the physicality is closer to the body. So even though the person grasps in his seichel, That you have to connect yourself to Hashem with all your soul. And this is the goal of everything, is to connect to Hashem. And still, the heart can schlep him, can drag him after to follow gufnizdik desires. Mamer Azal, as the Rizal say, the heart lusts, and then it's very strong. So, therefore, tzorich ha'adam liyos tamid zorish. Person should always be quick or be alert. Lilcha milchemes haseichel imalev, to wage the war of the intellect with the heart. Lahatos oiso gamkein, he wants to push the heart. So instead of the heart going after the tigers, you have to tilt it. Gamkein b'kol koyach hisbananusa b'gdulosi yisbarach, with the full power of his meditation, Hashem's blessed greatness, until she too, the heart too, will want to connect to Hashem blessed. This is the two levels of a tzaddik and a chosid. Tzaddik v'chosid. The one, when you're just in your mind and you haven't conquered your heart, that's a tzaddik. A chosid means that you change your heart around as well. Tzaddik v'chosid. Tzaddik nikra, he's called a tzaddik. He's called a tzaddik. Hine amru eze hu giber. Who's a giber? Hakoyvesh es yitzrei. You have to conquer Yitzhar, which means tzorich tamid lichbesh es halev b'sichlei. What does it mean conquer? The mind has to conquer the heart. Tzorich tamid lichbesh es halev b'sichlei. You have to always conquer the heart with your intellect. Since the heart is very much rooted in physical matters, it's the intellect wants to connect to Hashem. So you have this battle, again, and therefore, so that's how you always have to wage the war, and it's called a tzaddik. And it's going to say in the Tanya, this is called the Beinani. He calls it here a tzaddik, but this is really the Beinani. He says in a minute, he'll say, when he trains himself, that he reflects so much, so that it's rooted in his heart, also in his heart, and therefore automatically he's sort of subjugated totally, and he will not move from this in a way. That's called the chosid. So the chosid be'emes is the level of the tzaddik. So he says here in the brackets, Kein Kosov b'shar gedusha l'Rav Chaim Vital chelik aleph shar gimel. Okay, the Sefer Shel Beinanim Pirush Zehu Nikra tzaddik. That this one, the second level, is the tzaddik. Ubchina aleph, at the first level, when he has to constantly fight Nikra Beinanim Ein Shom. So maybe just those different names, different labels for what it is. Zehu Sha'omar David HaMelech Olav HaShalom. This is what David HaMelech, peace of them, said. As kol mitzvosai v'yisem kedoshim. No, am I saying wrong? So tachlis sinas neisim. Yeah. So this is what David HaMelech says. Tachlis sinas neisim. I hate them with total hatred. Kisharo soine Hashem. When he saw people that hated Hashem, nasa lahem soine gover. He became a complete enemy of theirs. Why? Even though they had bodily advantages, Because the nature of the goof, you should love them. They're beautiful, their wisdom. It is the nature of the body to love these things. But yet, the nation says the kol kach avosi yizborech believe, since also in his heart is rooted the love of the blessed Hashem, gam kein ubatu mikol midoisov. So he's bottled all of his emotions that you have to the Gashmi negdai, next to the love of Hashem, everything is bottled. He became a complete enemy to them, even though that mitzad the Gashmi, the goof, he should have loved them, but his love of Hashem overtook it. Well, derech mashikosu, this is similar in what it's written. V'libi cholol b'kirbi. V'zohu machmas shemispashet ma'amayach l'chutz shesomu sosim b'yoser. And this is because it expands from the brain to the outside, which means it doesn't remain just in the intellect. The intellect goes out, impacts the heart. In the brain, it's sosim b'yoser, it's very closed. Over there, it's not going to have an effect. But when it comes out of the heart, it comes out of the brain, it goes down, that's when it has an effect. So let's get back to our subject over here. Anyone who gives the flow to the bottom, that level, is called the Yisoid. Also in the spheres you have Chesed Gvura. So Yisoid is the last one. In the body also, the Yisoid is the Mashpia. When we say to Hashem, Baruch Hu, anu koyrim oiso ba'oiso b'china dahainu b'milas Baruch. So we call it Eibishter. Also, we use the language of Baruch. Baruch shu yisoid Abba. Baruch is the yisoid of the Chochmah. K'noida. No, it doesn't explain it. So we do the yisoid of the dahainu ba'oiso b'china shu mekusher itonu. That's the level that ties. The level is lahaknis oisonu, to give us the life. We come through the level of Yisoid. The Mashpia comes through the Yisoid. In that one we can hold on. We can say Baruch. That's where we can go below Yosef, but not more than that. Since that is the level that he contracts himself to give the flow below, that's the level in which we can grab hold. As the pasuk says, so the chokhmah itself we don't know, but we know the asisa is what you've made with the chokhmah. That's the level of Yisoid Mashpia L'mat. The Hine Oisam Beis HaYisoidus, the two Yisoidus, Yisoid of Chochmah, the Yisoid of Bina, Mehem Nasin Moichin L'Zo. From them become the Moichin for Zo. The Hine Zo Nikro Zeir Ampin. What is Zo? Zo means Zeir. Maloshin Zeir, small. So that means that means over there it's smaller. It's not the same level as it was higher in the intellect. It's a smaller. That's the chayis that comes to the world, is from the Zoh. When Chochmah comes to Zoh, Ba'ayin Mashikosu, B'divur Maschel Bosel Legani, B'divur Maschel Tzad Oreno, Gabisu Yudei Muchul. And then later on, when it expands up to the chest, into the lave, Nase shom oiris harbe. So the deer becomes lots of light. Umishom nase b'chinas rochel v'leya. And from there comes the level of rochel v'leya, which are the two levels of the emotion. Those are what's given birth. The emotions, I guess, the emotions come from that point. In the middle, that's where the rochel v'leya. Ba'avapi shalachayra muva b'kisva Arizal. Although it seems like it says the kisva Arizal shebchinas leya yinekes mimash shelamayla. Over there it says that leya nurtures from what's higher. What does it mean higher? The hainu mibina utvuna. That's from the level of bina utvuna. Not here we're saying it's from the choze, from the midos, but from the level of yisoid, which it comes through, but we know it's from the level of bina utvuna. Also the level of rochel comes from the level of bina. Shalzen nemar b'chochma yosad oretz. Oretz means the land. That's the level of malchus. That with wisdom, abba yosad brato. That's the chochma that founds the brato, which means that the rochel comes from the level of chochma. Hainu chinas rochel hanal abba yosad brato. Sha'akoil mechochma nafkas. Everything on chochma. So l'chayre. Here we're saying that Rochel and Leah, they come after the midos, after the leiv, after the chaz, after the yisoid. But here we're saying that they get directly from the level of bina, both Rochel and Leah. So he says zeu gam kinemis. This is also true. But there's two levels. Avonira, when it appears the hine beis b'chinas Rochel v'Leah hanal. That these levels of rochel, they're called machshava and dibur. Kumeshikosu parsha shlach. Apostle teva oris meid meid. Ube parshas vayetz al posuk ulelovin shtei bonis. Talks about the rochel and Leah over there. Ube parshas tazriya b'dibur amaschil. But what are the two levels of machshava and dibur? That's alma diskasya, alma disgalia. The hidden world and the revealed world, because machshava is hidden; it's not known. Dibur comes out is alma disgalia. V'heim nikroim. So machshava and dibur are called achorayim shel haseichel. They are the hind part of the seichel. She'enoi haseichel ba'atzmai k'shebol lihispashtus machshava and dibur. It's not the seichel itself when it expands into machshava and dibur. V'zeu sheheim machorayim yisoid avo, and that is that they are from the back of Aim, a Chochma Bina, because they're only the level of Machshava and Dibur from the Sech. Ulhovin Mahu is Kasya is Galio. So what does it mean that it's hidden and revealed? Hine b'Machshava yesh gam ken oison ha'eishiyos atzmon mashu medaber. In Machshava there's also the same letters that he speaks. So we have letters over there. The person, what he thinks, that's what he speaks. They're covered of ein idea. Only he understands it. In Machshava, the person thinks about it, he understands it. And then then somebody else can understand. So Behine Machshava dibur yotzim me'amidus. The machshava dibur, they come from the midas, they come out. Kima she'oyev. So that's a result of the midas. The machshava dibur. Kima she'oyev zeu mechashev u'medaber. Because what he loves, that's what he thinks about and that's what he speaks about. V'hamidos nimshochim mizbarinus haseichel. And where does he come to that? What he loves, the midas, that comes from the reflection of the seichel. First, in his mind falls in an item. Something falls into his mind, into his brain. And then when he reflects by Davar, so then it expands to the heart. Over there, they extend to one or not to one. And the leiv sustains this matter of what they want and not want, what comes from the seichel, what comes till it comes to the leiv. Sometimes a person's mind tells him, obligates him to love something, but the body doesn't allow it to. But when he connects his seichel to the extent, so it also is set in his heart, to do it, then the meila so then automatically he gets nullified all the midas. Al-Kain, Nemar Yaakov, Vayishak Yaakov L'Rochel. Question is, how was Yaakov allowed to kiss Rachel? Doing Zakter Shahoya Muter Loi Bevadai. This was for certainly permissible to Yaakov. Why? Ma'achar Shahoya Bottle Mikol Taivas Gufnis. He was subjugated from any bodily desires. Machmas, he's not kusaba his baruch because of his connection to Hashem. So he didn't have any gashmis he could have. Ba'arakach, shemispashtim, oisius ha-machshava, oisius ha-dibur, when you come to the machshava, there was shom, who yoiser his galus. So there is more of his galus. L'chein, ma'achar sha'seichel yoitzer me'hamoyach l'leiv. So from the seichel comes from leich, sha'koel me'chochma nafke. It all starts with chochma. From the seichel, it goes from the mind to the heart as the process, as we said. Al-Kain, yesh b'leiv kol ha-b'chinas, that it has all the b'chinas, the hainu, which is the which kosveli biro harbe chochma, like the pasuk says over there. Shmiya v'avona. So he has all hearing and understanding, because he says alev, maven alev yedea, called the rabbis says in Medasham Kielas Apostle, the Barti Ani Livi Bahainu Sheyesh Belev Gamkein Bchinas Bino Kenal, that also in the heart there's the level of Bina. So therefore, Sheheim Yisoidis Mishtabim. So these they all equal out Sham in the Lev. Shabahem Miskashim L'chayis Kol Oilamis. Over there, they tie to vitalize all the world. Person also has to be quick and hardy, and to conquer his yetzer, and to uproot it. From what? From his thought, speech, and action to connect to Hashem. So it seems to me what he's saying, he's not so very, I didn't get it so clearly, but it seems to me that he answers the contradiction that eventually everything comes from Chokhmah, even though he started saying that over there in Kisva Rizal, when it says Rochel V'Leya, where do they come? And Rochel V'Leya is Machshava Dibur, because this is part of the evolution. When we say Rochel V'Leya, we didn't just bring in Rochel V'Leya over there because it goes Chochma, Bina, then comes the emotions, then comes the Leiv, then comes Yisoid, and then comes Machshava Dibur. So basically, Rochel V'Leya is Machshava Dibur. Amud is Kasyan, Amud is Galia. So, and that's already the level of Nukva, level of Malchus, Amud Yosef Bratim. So, the question becomes, why does it say that it's connected directly with Bina? And I guess the answer is because the whole process starts from the Chokhmah, goes to Chokhmah. That's considered the Achurayim of Ava'im, because that's after the whole Yispash. All right.
Thank you very much.
It was a shtickle.
It's okay. It's all, you're not.